The classroom was cold. Not cold enough to hurt, but cold enough to remind everyone that they were far from home. The Galactic Military Academy sat on Arcturus Prime, a neutral station floating in the dark between star systems. Here, the best, warriors from across the galaxy came to learn how to fight, how to survive, and how to kill. Instructor Velkara stood at the front of the room. She was a Thros with 4 arms covered in thick armor plates that looked like dark metal. Her species had been soldiers for thousands of years. 2 of her 4 eyes scanned the classroom while the other 2 focused on her data pad. When she spoke, her voice clicked and hummed in a way that the translation devices turned into clear words. "Today we study how to neutralize human threats," she announced. The classroom held 32 students from 12 different species. There were Vosk cadets with bodies made of living crystal that reflected the light. There were Halari with scales and long tails that could crush bones. There were massive Breckons, who stood 8 feet tall even when sitting down. Each species had sent their best young warriors to this place. And there was one human. Daewon sat in the 3rd row, his desk slightly too large for his frame. He looked small compared to most of his classmates. His skin had no scales or armor. His hands had no claws. He had 2 eyes instead of 4 or 6. He wore the same gray uniform as everyone else, but on him it seemed to hang a bit loose. He was taking notes. Velkara activated the large display screen behind her. An image appeared showing a human body with labels pointing to different parts. Humans joined the Galactic Union 3 years ago. They are a young species, a weak species. Today you will learn why. She pointed at the image with one of her lower arms. No natural armor. Their skin tears easily, no claws or fangs worth mentioning. Their bones break under pressure that would barely injure most of you. A Vosk cadet named Krell raised one crystalline hand. "Why do we need to learn this? They seem too weak to be threats." "Every species can be dangerous in the right circumstances," Velkara replied, "even weak ones. That is why we study them all." She changed the image. Now it showed a human skeleton with red marks indicating weak points. The human spine is a critical weakness. Damage here causes immediate paralysis. The throat is soft and unprotected. Crushing it will cause death by suffocation within minutes. The skull, while somewhat thick, will fracture from sufficient blunt force. Daewon continued writing. His pen moved steadily across his paper. He did not look up. "Humans evolved on Earth, a Class 4 paradise world," Velkara continued. She pulled up images of blue oceans and green forests. Mild temperatures, abundant water, rich soil. Their evolution occurred in one of the galaxy's easiest environments. This made them soft. A Halari female named Sithis turned in her seat to look at Daewon. Her tongue flicked out to taste the air. "If they are so weak, how did this one pass the entrance trials?" Velkara's mandibles clicked together softly. It was something like a smile. Daewon scored in the acceptable range for combat assessment. "We do not reject applicants based on species. Even humans can produce exceptional individuals occasionally." Several students glanced at Daewon. Some looked curious. Others looked like they felt sorry for him. A few looked amused, as if having a human in an elite combat class was some kind of joke. Daewon kept writing. His face showed no emotion. "Let us continue," Velkara said. She brought up a new screen showing human sensory capabilities. Humans have limited senses compared to most species. They cannot see in infrared or ultraviolet. Their hearing range is narrow. Their sense of smell is nearly useless in combat situations. They have no electromagnetic sensitivity, no echolocation, no thermal pits. She gestured at the data. In a dark environment, most of you would have significant advantages over a human opponent. Their eyes need light to function. They are essentially blind in true darkness. A Brecken student rumbled a deep laugh. "They sound more like prey than predators." "That is because they were prey," Velkara said. "For most of their evolution, humans were hunted by larger, stronger creatures. They survived by hiding, by running, and by using simple tools. Only recently in their history did they reach the top of their food chain." She pulled up more data showing human physical capabilities. Average human running speed, 28 kilometers per hour for short distances. Compare this to a Halari sprint of 80 kilometers per hour, or a Brecon charge of 90. Humans are slow. Another image appeared. Human bite force, approximately 700 newtons. A Thros bite force, 4,000 newtons. A Brecon bite force, 12,000 newtons. Humans cannot even break bones with their mouths. The list continued. Humans could not breathe underwater. They died quickly in extreme cold or heat. They needed water constantly. They required a narrow range of atmospheric pressure. Their bodies could not produce their own nutrients and needed to eat frequently. They had no venom, no poison, no chemical defenses at all. In summary, Velkara said, humans are fragile omnivores from an easy world with minimal natural defenses. They compensate with technology and tools, but in direct physical combat, they lose to almost any other species. She activated the holographic projector in the center of the room. A three-dimensional battlefield appeared, showing a combat scenario. Blue figures represented humans. Red figures represented various alien species. Observe, Velkara commanded. The simulation played. A squad of humans with basic weapons faced a squad of Thros warriors. The Thros were faster, stronger, and had armor that the human weapons barely damaged. Within 30 seconds, all the blue figures were down. The red figures stood victorious. Another simulation. Humans versus Halari. The serpent warriors moved too quickly, dodging human attacks and striking with venomous fangs. The humans fell one by one. Another. Humans versus Brecons. The massive aliens simply walked through human defensive positions, crushing everything in their path. The battle was over in less than a minute. As you can see, Velkara said as the holograms faded, human combat effectiveness is limited. They can be dangerous in large numbers or with superior technology, but in equal conditions, they are at a disadvantage. Daewon was still writing. He had filled several pages with notes. His expression remained calm and neutral, as if he were learning about some other species instead of his own. Velkara checked the time. We have 15 minutes remaining. Are there any questions before we discuss tactical recommendations? The classroom was quiet for a moment. Most students seemed satisfied with the lesson. They had learned what they came to learn. Humans were weak. The galaxy had nothing to fear from them. Then Daewon raised his hand. It was the first time he had moved beyond taking notes. Every eye in the classroom turned toward him. Yes, Cadet Daewon, Velkara said. Daewon lowered his hand. He looked at his instructor with calm, dark eyes. May I wait until the end of the lesson, instructor? I would not want to interrupt. Velkara studied him for a moment, her 4 eyes focused on the young human. If you have a question, ask it now. It is not exactly a question, Daewon said quietly. More of a correction. The room became very still. Several students exchanged glances. A few mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. Velkara's armored plates shifted slightly. A correction? Yes, instructor. Your lesson contained several errors. Significant ones. The clicking sounds increased. Some students were definitely amused now. The weak human was about to embarrass himself. But Velkara did not laugh. She had been a soldier for 60 years. She had fought in 7 wars. She knew that the most dangerous moments often came from unexpected directions, and something in the human's voice, something in his calm eyes, made her cautious. Very well, Cadet Daewon, she said slowly. Come to the front. Show us these errors you have found. Daewon stood. He gathered his notes and walked down the aisle between the desks. He moved easily, gracefully, like someone who was completely comfortable in his own body. He reached the front of the room and looked at the class. Then he smiled. It was not a happy smile. Thank you, instructor, he said. This will take a few minutes. Daewon stood at the front of the classroom with his notes in hand. The large display screen glowed behind him, still showing the last combat simulation where humans had lost. He looked at the screen, then at his instructor, then at the class. May I use the projection system, instructor? Velkara gestured with one of her upper arms. Proceed. Daewon connected his personal datapad to the system. New images began to replace the ones Velkara had shown. The first image made several students lean forward in their seats. It was Earth, but not the gentle paradise world Velkara had displayed. This image showed a massive desert with sand dunes that stretched forever. The temperature reading at the bottom said 53 degrees Celsius. You said Earth was a paradise world, Daewon began. His voice was calm, almost casual, like he was discussing the weather. That was your first error. He changed the image. Now it showed a frozen landscape of ice and snow. The temperature reading said minus 40 degrees Celsius. Earth has deserts that can kill you from heat in hours. It has frozen regions that can kill you from cold in minutes. Both of these places exist on the same planet. Another image. A dense jungle with plants so thick you could barely see between them. Earth has jungles where it rains almost every day. The humidity is so high that some species would drown just from breathing the air. These jungles contain thousands of poisonous plants and venomous animals. Daewon pulled up another picture. This one showed an ocean with waves taller than buildings crashing against rocks. 70% of Earth's surface is covered in salt water. This water contains creatures that can kill and eat something the size of a Brecon. The deepest parts have pressure that would crush most spacecraft. He looked at the class. Some students were still leaning back, arms crossed, skeptical. Others had started to pay closer attention. Earth is not a paradise world, Daewon said. Earth is a Class 4 death world that happens to have some nice areas. Humans evolved to survive in all of these environments. We had to. Because we were being hunted, new images appeared. A large cat with enormous fangs. A massive bear standing 12 feet tall. A pack of wolves with teeth designed for tearing meat. A tiny mosquito. A microscopic organism visible only through magnification. For most of human evolution, everything was trying to kill us, Daewon explained. Big predators hunted us for food. Small insects gave us diseases. Tiny organisms we could not even see caused plagues that killed millions of us. We were not apex predators. We were prey that refused to die. He changed the display again. This time it showed a map with arrows and dates. Human history is a story of migration. We evolved in one part of Earth and then spread to every other part. We walked into deserts and learned to survive. We walked into frozen lands and learned to survive. We crossed oceans and climbed mountains and went to places where nothing else could live. A Vosk student named Krell spoke up. Many species spread across their worlds. This is not special. You are right, Daewon agreed. But most species spread slowly over millions of years, evolving different traits for different environments. Humans spread across Earth in less than 100,000 years. We did not evolve to fit each environment. We adapted our behavior. We made tools. We made clothes. We made shelters. We used our minds instead of our bodies. He pulled up a new image showing a human hand holding a sharp rock. This was our first weapon. A rock with a sharp edge, simple, basic, but effective. The next image showed a spear, then a bow, then a sword. Then the images started coming faster. Crossbows, muskets, rifles, machine guns, artillery, tanks, fighter jets, missiles. We have been making weapons for 200,000 years, Daewon said. Every generation makes better weapons than the last. We never stop improving them. The final image appeared. It was a photograph, old and grainy, showing a massive explosion rising into the sky like a terrible mushroom. The cloud was bright white and orange against a dark sky. The classroom became very quiet. That is an atomic weapon, Daewon said. His voice was still calm, but there was something heavy in his words now. It works by splitting atoms and releasing the energy that holds matter together. One bomb can destroy an entire city in seconds. The temperature at the center is hotter than the surface of most stars. He looked at the class. We invented this weapon 80 years after we invented the airplane. We went from flying like birds to harnessing the power of the sun in less than one human lifetime. Velkara's mandibles were completely still now. She was watching Daewon very carefully. We used these weapons, Daewon continued. Twice against other humans. Against our own species. The cities we hit were full of civilians. Hundreds of thousands died instantly. Many more died slowly from radiation poisoning. He paused, letting that information settle into the room. After that, we made a decision. We decided these weapons were too dangerous to use again. We made more of them. Thousands more, each one more powerful than the last. But we agreed not to use them. Because we realized we had created something that could make our entire species extinct. Daewon changed the image. Now it showed human soldiers in a muddy trench. They looked tired, cold, and miserable. Some were injured. All of them looked young. "This is from a war we called the First World War," Daewon said. 65 million soldiers fought in this war. 20 million died. It lasted 4 years. Some humans sat in trenches like this one for months, being slowly killed by artillery, poison gas, disease, and cold. They watched their friends die. They knew they would probably die too, but they did not run away. They stayed and fought. Another image. Soldiers wading through water toward a beach. Explosions all around them. This is from the Second World War. It started 20 years after the first one ended. 70 million people died in this war. Entire cities were burned to the ground. Millions of civilians were murdered. Whole nations were destroyed. He looked at the class again. These were not wars between species. These were humans fighting other humans. We did this to ourselves. A Halari student named Scythis raised her hand. "Why are you showing us this?" "It only proves you are violent and stupid." Daewon nodded. "You might be right, but let me show you what else it proves." He pulled up medical data. "You said humans are fragile, that our bones break easily, that we die from injuries quickly. This is true. But you did not mention that humans regularly survive injuries that would kill most species." The data showed cases of humans surviving with massive wounds, soldiers who kept fighting with broken bones, athletes who finished competitions with torn muscles, workers who survived being crushed, burned, frozen, or poisoned. Humans have something called an adrenaline response, Daewon explained. When we are in danger, our bodies flood with chemicals that let us ignore pain, increase our strength, and sharpen our senses. We can keep fighting even when we should be dead. He showed a video clip of a human lifting the front of a ground vehicle. This is a mother whose child was trapped under a car. Her normal strength would never allow this, but her adrenaline response gave her temporary strength far beyond normal human capability. She lifted that vehicle and saved her child. More images appeared. Humans climbing mountains in thin air, humans running ultramarathons across deserts, humans diving deep underwater on a single breath, humans surviving in space with only a thin suit between them and the void. "You said we need narrow environmental conditions," Daewon said. "True, but we have learned to survive in conditions far outside those requirements. We have been to the top of our highest mountain, where the air is so thin that most species would suffocate. We have been to our deepest ocean trench where the pressure should crush us. We have been to our frozen poles where the temperature drops to minus 90 degrees. He pulled up one final image. It showed a footprint on gray dust with Earth visible in the black sky above. "That is our moon," Daewon said quietly. "It has no air, no water, and no protection from radiation. Nothing lives there, but humans went there anyway. We walked on it. We planted our flag. We came home and went back 5 more times." He turned off the display. The classroom lights came back to full brightness. Every student was staring at him now. "Instructor Velkara, you said humans evolved in paradise and became weak. That was your second error. We evolved in one of the most dangerous environments in the galaxy, being hunted by everything, and we survived by being too stubborn to die." Velkara's 4 eyes blinked slowly. "I see," she said. "Continue, Cadet Daewon. What other errors did I make?" Daewon smiled that not happy smile again. "Several more, Instructor. Would you like me to continue?" "Yes," Velkara said. Her voice was very quiet. "I would like you to finish your lesson." Daewon returned to the projection controls. The classroom remained completely silent. Even the students who had been amused or skeptical before were now paying full attention. Something in the human's presentation had changed the mood of the room. His calm voice and steady eyes made everything he said feel important. "Your third error was about human senses," Daewon said. He brought up a comparison chart, showing sensory ranges for different species. "You were correct that humans cannot see in infrared or ultraviolet. We cannot hear ultrasonic frequencies. Our sense of smell is weak compared to many species." He highlighted a different section of the chart. "But you did not mention what humans can do that almost no other species can do." A new image appeared. It showed a human throwing a spear at a running animal. The image was ancient, painted on a cave wall thousands of years ago. "Humans can throw," Daewon said simply. "We can throw objects accurately while running. We can throw while jumping. We can throw while moving in any direction. And we can hit targets that are also moving." Several students shifted in their seats. This did not sound impressive. "Let me explain why this matters," Daewon continued. Throwing requires incredibly precise coordination between eyes, brain, and muscles. The brain must calculate distance, wind, gravity, the target's movement, and your own movement. It must do all of this in less than a second. Then it must send perfect signals to dozens of muscles to release the object at exactly the right moment with exactly the right speed and angle. He pulled up a video showing a human throwing a small ball at high speed. The numbers beside the video showed the ball moving at over 150 kilometers per hour. Another human caught it and threw it back just as fast. No other species in the galaxy can do this, Day One said. Your species are stronger, faster, and tougher than humans. But none of you can throw a rock at a target 20 meters away and hit it while both you and the target are running. He changed to a military scene showing human soldiers. This means humans can fight from a distance. We evolved this ability for hunting. We would throw spears at animals too fast or strong to fight directly. We would throw rocks at predators to drive them away. Our ancestors survived because they could kill from far away. A Brecken student rumbled. We have ranged weapons too. Guns work better than throwing. True, Daewon agreed. But throwing was first. Humans were killing from a distance 50,000 years before we invented guns. We are very, very good at it. And throwing teaches our brains to calculate trajectories. That skill transfers to every ranged weapon we have ever made. He brought up a new image showing human eyes. Your fourth error was about human vision. You said our eyes are limited, that we need light to see, both true, but you did not mention what human eyes are actually designed to see. The image zoomed in on the structure of a human eye. Human eyes are not built for seeing in the dark. They are built for seeing details, for spotting tiny differences in color and shape, for tracking fast movement across long distances. A video played showing a human watching a small flying insect. The human's eyes moved smoothly, following the insect's erratic flight pattern without any apparent effort. Human eyes can track objects moving at high speed, Daewon explained. We can see something moving and predict where it will go. This is another hunting adaptation. Prey animals run in unpredictable patterns, but human eyes can follow them and predict their path. He showed another comparison. Most predator species have forward-facing eyes for depth perception. Most prey species have side-facing eyes for wide vision. Humans have forward-facing eyes like predators, but our eyes are positioned in a way that gives us both excellent depth perception and wider vision than most other predators. New data appeared showing human vision capabilities. Humans can see a candle flame from 30 kilometers away in complete darkness. We can distinguish between thousands of color shades. We can read tiny text. We can spot camouflaged objects. Our visual processing is so efficient that we can recognize a face in less than 1 second, even if we have not seen that face in years. Daewon looked at the class. You said humans would be nearly blind in darkness, true, but in any environment with even small amounts of light, human eyes work very well. And humans learned long ago how to make light wherever we need it. He pulled up his fifth point. This one showed a graph of human population growth over time. The line started low and flat, then suddenly curved upward sharply. Your fifth error was about human numbers, Daewon said. You showed combat simulations where humans were defeated. In every simulation, the human force was small. You assumed humans would fight in small groups. The population graph zoomed in on recent history. The numbers were staggering. There are currently 9 billion humans on Earth, 9 billion. In 1 century, our population grew from 1 billion to 9 billion. Earth is not a large planet, but we have filled almost every part of it. He showed images of human cities at night, glowing with millions of lights, highways packed with vehicles, buildings stacked hundreds of levels high, crowds of people filling streets and plazas. When humans fight, we do not fight in small squads, Daewon said quietly. We fight in armies of millions. We can move entire populations if we need to. We can turn whole planets into weapons factories. We can coordinate billions of people toward a single goal. A new simulation appeared. It showed a combat scenario similar to the ones Velkara had displayed earlier. But this time, when the human forces were defeated, more humans appeared. Then more. The alien forces won battles, but the humans kept coming in larger and larger numbers until they overwhelmed everything. Humans learned a long time ago that we cannot match most predators one-on-one, Daewon said. So we do not fight one-on-one. We fight 10-on-1, 100-on-1, 1,000,000-on-1 if necessary. We surround you. We overwhelm you. We never stop sending more troops until we win. The classroom was very quiet now. Even the largest students looked uncomfortable. Daewon continued. Your sixth error was about human pack behavior. You said humans use simple tools and technology to compensate for physical weakness. True, but you did not mention how humans cooperate. Videos showed human soldiers working together. They moved in coordinated patterns without speaking. They communicated with hand signals, eye contact, and subtle body language. They split up to surround an objective, then converged from multiple directions simultaneously. Humans are social pack hunters, Daewon explained. We instinctively work together in groups. We divide tasks. We cover each other's weaknesses. We coordinate complex actions with minimal communication. Most species need explicit orders and clear hierarchy. Humans can self-organize and adapt tactics in real time during combat. He showed historical battles where human armies had defeated larger, stronger forces through superior coordination and tactics. We study war. We have studied it for thousands of years. We have written millions of books about tactics, strategy, and logistics. Every human culture has its own fighting systems, and we learn from all of them. New images appeared showing human military academies, training facilities, and war colleges. We train our soldiers for years before they ever see combat. We run simulations. We study historical battles. We learn from every defeat and every victory. By the time a human soldier enters battle, they have already fought that battle 100 times in training. Daewon looked at Velkara. Instructor, you showed simulations where humans lost in direct combat. You were right. In a fair fight, humans usually lose. But humans learned long ago not to fight fair. He pulled up a new video. It showed a small human force retreating from a larger alien force. The aliens pursued. Then the ground exploded. The aliens were caught in a carefully prepared ambush. Human soldiers appeared from hidden positions on all sides. The battle was over in seconds. Humans do not fight fair, Daewon repeated. We set traps. We use terrain. We attack from surprise. We study our enemy's behavior and exploit their weaknesses. We fight dirty. We fight smart. And we absolutely will not fight a battle we cannot win unless we have no other choice. He changed to a darker image. It showed a burned city, destroyed and empty. Your seventh error was about human psychology. You treated humans like logical beings who surrender when defeat is certain. That is your most dangerous error. The image changed to show human defenders in a ruined fortress. They were outnumbered, surrounded, and clearly doomed. But they were still fighting. Humans have something we call spite, Daewon said. The word did not translate well, and he had to explain it. Spite means doing something harmful to yourself just to hurt your enemy more. It means refusing to surrender even when surrender is logical. It means if humans know they are going to die, they will try to take you with them. He showed historical examples, cities that burned themselves rather than let enemies capture them, soldiers who fought to the last person when they could have surrendered, ships that rammed enemy vessels when their weapons were destroyed, pilots who crashed their aircraft into targets when they ran out of ammunition. Humans have a saying. Daewon said quietly, "If I am going down, I am taking you with me." We mean it, literally. When humans are pushed into a corner with no escape, we do not give up. We become more dangerous. Daewon let his last words hang in the air. The classroom had changed. Students who had been relaxed and confident now sat straight in their chairs. The casual atmosphere was gone. Something heavier had replaced it. "Let me show you what I mean," Daewon said. He pulled up one of the combat simulations Velkara had shown earlier. The one where Thros warriors had defeated human soldiers in 30 seconds. This simulation was accurate, Daewon said. In this scenario, humans lose. The Thros are stronger, better armored, and have 4 arms to our 2. In direct combat, they win easily. He let the simulation play again. The blue human figures fell quickly under the red Thros attack. Then Daewon paused it. "But watch what happens next," he said. The simulation continued past the point where Velkara had stopped it. The surviving Thros warriors moved forward to secure the area. Then something changed. The environmental data at the edge of the screen started shifting. Temperature dropping, humidity increasing, visibility decreasing. 3 hours later, Daewon narrated. The weather has changed. Fog has rolled in. The temperature has dropped 15 degrees. The Thros warriors are cold-blooded. They are moving slower now. Their reaction times are down. New blue figures appeared at the edges of the simulation, hidden in the fog. They did not charge forward like before. They stayed spread out. They moved carefully. This is a different human unit, Daewon explained. They studied what happened to the first unit. They learned. They waited for conditions that favor humans instead of Thros. Now they attack. The human forces struck from multiple directions at once. They did not try to fight the Thros in direct combat. Instead, they used ranged weapons, staying far enough back that the Thros could not reach them. When Thros warriors charged, the humans retreated into the fog. When the Thros stopped, the humans attacked again. The simulation ended with the Thros forces eliminated and most of the human forces still operational. Humans lose the first fight, Daewon said, but we win the second one. Because we learned. We adapted. We changed our tactics to match the enemy and the environment. He showed another example, a simulation where Hilari serpent warriors had defeated humans using superior speed and venom. Again, the humans lose the first encounter, Daewon said. The simulation played exactly as Velkara had shown it. Then it continued. 4 hours later, the humans return, but look at what they changed. The new human force wore thick protective suits that covered every part of their bodies. They carried different weapons, ones designed for area effects rather than single targets. They moved in tighter formation with overlapping fields of fire. The Hilari speed advantage is reduced by the terrain the humans chose, Daewon explained. Dense forest. Lots of obstacles. Hard to move quickly. The protective suits make venom attacks useless. The area effect weapons mean the Hilari cannot dodge. The humans lose some soldiers, but they win the battle. He showed a third example, Breckons defeating humans through sheer size and strength. Once more, humans lose initially, Daewon said. The Breckons are too big, too strong, too tough. Human weapons barely hurt them. The simulation continued. 6 hours later. Different location. The humans have retreated to an area with low ceilings and narrow passages. The Breckons cannot maneuver. They have to move single file. The humans have set up prepared positions with heavy weapons. They have mines and explosives. They turn the battlefield into a killing zone designed specifically to neutralize Brecon advantages. The simulation ended with a human victory. Do you see the pattern? Daewon asked the class. Humans study you. We learn your strengths and weaknesses. We change our tactics. We change our equipment. We change the battlefield itself. And then we come back. He pulled up historical data from Earth. Human military history is full of this. We lost battles to cavalry charges, so we invented pikes and formations to stop cavalry. Cavalry adapted, so we invented guns. Guns made armor obsolete, so we invented tanks. Tanks dominated battlefields, so we invented anti-tank weapons. Every time someone develops a winning strategy, humans study it and develop a counter-strategy. A Vosk student named Krell spoke up. His crystalline voice sounded less confident than before. All species adapt their tactics. This is basic military thinking. You are right, Daewon agreed. But humans do it faster. Much faster. And we do it more thoroughly. He showed a timeline. In the First World War I mentioned earlier, combat tactics changed more in 4 years than they had changed in the previous 400 years. Humans started that war fighting with tactics from the 19th century. We ended it with tanks, aircraft, chemical weapons, and coordinated combined arms assaults. We revolutionized warfare in less than 1 human generation. More data appeared. In the Second World War, we went even faster. New weapons, new tactics, new strategies appearing every few months. Radar, sonar, jet engines, rockets, computers, code-breaking, electronic warfare. Each side constantly trying to outthink and out-innovate the other. The war lasted 6 years. By the end, combat looked completely different than it did at the beginning. Daewon looked at the class. How long does your species take to change military doctrine? 10 years? 20? Humans can do it in months if we have to. He pulled up a new image. It showed Earth's moon again, but this time with structures built on its surface. After we went to our moon, we started thinking about war in space. We have detailed plans for orbital defense, zero-gravity combat, and planetary invasion. We have never fought a space battle, but we have already studied how to do it. We have written thousands of books and run millions of simulations. When humans finally do fight in space, we will already know how. The image changed to show human ships, not real ones, but concept designs. Humans have designed warships for environments we have never fought in. Underwater, underground, in toxic atmospheres. In high gravity. In zero gravity. In dimensions we can only theorize about. We study war constantly, even during peace, because we know that preparation is the difference between victory and extinction. Daewon's voice remained calm and steady, but his words were heavy. Your lesson today focused on how to kill a human in a single combat encounter. That is useful information, but it is incomplete. Dangerously incomplete. He pulled up a new simulation. This one showed a human colony on a remote world. An alien force attacked it. The humans were outnumbered and outgunned. They lost. The colony was destroyed. The few human survivors escaped on a single ship. You win, Day One said. You have killed most of the humans and captured their colony. By your calculations, the threat is eliminated. The simulation continued. The surviving human ship reached another human world. It delivered its report. Then something changed. The entire human response shifted. Now humans know you are hostile, Day One said. Now we know your capabilities. Now we know what weapons work on you and which do not. Now we know how you fight, how you think, how you move. The simulation showed human fleets being assembled. Massive fleets. Ships by the thousands. Troops by the millions. Resources diverted from across human space toward a single purpose. Humans do not fight small wars, Day One said. Not when our survival is at stake. When humans go to war, really go to war, we commit everything. Every resource. Every person. Every world. The simulation showed the human fleet returning to the alien colony world. It was not a battle. It was an overwhelming assault. The aliens fought hard, but they were simply buried under the weight of human numbers and firepower. You killed some humans, Day One said quietly, so humans came back and killed all of you. He let that sink in for a moment before continuing. This is what I meant about spite. Humans remember. We remember every injury, every insult, every defeat, and we pass those memories down through generations. New historical data appeared. Earth has cultures that maintained blood feuds for centuries. Families that fought each other for so long they forgot why the fight started. But they kept fighting anyway. Nations that remained enemies for 1,000 years. Religions that have opposed each other for 3,000 years. Day One looked directly at Velkara. Instructor, if someone kills a human, other humans will hunt them. If someone kills a lot of humans, we will hunt them with everything we have. If someone tries to make humans extinct, we will make them extinct first. We will pursue them across galaxies if necessary. We will hunt them for generations if we have to. We will never ever stop. He showed examples from human history. Criminals hunted for decades. War criminals tracked down 50 years after their crimes. Ships lost at sea, searched for until they were found even if it took 100 years. Humans do not give up, Day One said. Not ever. We have a saying. We do not negotiate with terrorists. It means once someone chooses violence against humans, we do not make peace with them. We destroy them, completely, so that no one else will try it. The classroom was absolutely silent. Even Velkara's mandibles were frozen in place. Here is what humans learned from being prey, Day One continued. We learned that predators only respect strength. We learned that showing weakness invites attack. We learned that the only way to survive is to make predators afraid to hunt you. He pulled up one final image. It showed a list of Earth species, hundreds of them, all marked as extinct or critically endangered. These are the species that used to hunt humans. Day One stood at the front of the classroom, his presentation complete. Every student was staring at him now. The casual atmosphere from the beginning of the lesson had vanished completely. In its place was something else, something that felt heavier, more serious. He looked at his notes one more time, then set them down on the instructor's desk. There is one more thing I need to tell you, he said. The most important thing. He pulled up a new image. It showed a simple graph with two lines. One line showed human population growth over time. The other showed human technological advancement. Both lines started slow and flat, then suddenly curved upward almost vertically. Humans are getting smarter faster than any species in recorded galactic history, Day One said. 500 years ago, we thought the sun moved around Earth. We fought with swords and bows. Our fastest transportation was a horse. Our long-distance communication was letters carried by hand. The graph zoomed in on recent human history. The curve became almost straight up. Today we can split atoms. We can modify our own DNA. We can build machines smaller than living cells. We can send information around our entire planet in less than 1 second. We went from horse riding to space travel in 150 years. He let that number hang in the air. 150 years, he repeated. Most species take millions of years to develop space travel. Humans did it in the blink of an eye on evolutionary timescales, and we are accelerating. Our technology improves faster every year. What used to take decades now takes years. What used to take years now takes months. A Hilari student named Scythis raised her hand. Her voice was uncertain. Are you trying to threaten us? Daewon looked at her. His expression was calm, almost sad. No, I'm trying to warn you. There is a difference. He pulled up one more image. This one showed a concept that had to be translated carefully, because most species did not have a word for it. The translation devices settled on total war. Humans have a way of fighting that most species do not understand. Daewon explained. We call it total war. It means every resource, every person, every world, every piece of technology gets focused on winning. Civilians become soldiers. Factories become weapons plants. Science becomes focused entirely on military applications. Art becomes propaganda. Children are taught to fight. Old people work in factories. Nothing exists except the war effort. He showed historical examples. Entire nations transformed for war production. Cities where every building produced something for the military. Populations where everyone from age 15 to 70 contributed to the war effort. When humans fight total war, we do not stop until we achieve complete victory, Daewon said. Not peace. Not treaty. Not compromise, victory. We want our enemy destroyed so thoroughly that they can never threaten us again. He pulled up footage from human wars, cities burning, armies surrendering, leaders put on trial, nations occupied and rebuilt according to human designs. Humans have fought total wars against each other. We destroyed entire civilizations. We rebuilt them from nothing. We erased cultures and replaced them. We did things to our own species that most species would never imagine doing to their worst enemies. Daewon's voice remained steady, but there was a weight to his words now. I am not proud of this. Most humans are not proud of this. We look at our history and see terrible things, but we also see that we survived. We see that we won, and we remember how. He looked around the classroom. Every eye was on him. Even Velkara stood completely still, all forearms hanging loose at her sides. Here's what I want you to understand, Daewon said. The humans you have met are peaceful. We are friendly. We joined the Galactic Union because we want to be part of something larger than ourselves. We want to trade, to learn, to cooperate with other species. We genuinely want peace, he paused. But we are only peaceful by choice. Not by nature. A new image appeared. It showed a human child playing with a toy. Innocent, happy, normal. Every human child learns to throw before they can speak in full sentences, Daewon said. Every human culture has games that simulate hunting or fighting. Every human civilization has warrior traditions going back thousands of years. War is part of who we are. We try to be better than that. We try to choose peace. But the capacity for violence is always there. He changed the image to show a human family, parents with children, smiling, peaceful. These people would never hurt anyone, Daewon said. They are kind. They are gentle. They work normal jobs and raise their children and go to sleep peacefully every night. The image changed. The same people, but now they wore military uniforms. They carried weapons. Their faces were hard. But if you threaten their families, they become this, Daewon said simply. If you attack their homes, they will fight. If you try to make humans extinct, these peaceful people will become soldiers. They will learn to kill. They will become very good at it. And they will not stop until you are no longer a threat. He looked at Velkara. Instructor, your lesson today taught my classmates how to kill a human. That information could be useful in individual combat, but it is also dangerous information, because it might make someone think humans are easy to defeat. That killing a few humans would not have serious consequences. Daewon pulled up one final image. It showed a human military cemetery, thousands of white markers stretching into the distance. Each one represented a human who had died in war. Humans honor our dead, Daewon said. We build monuments to them. We remember their names. We tell stories about their sacrifices. Every human learns from childhood that sometimes dying for something important is better than living safely. He gestured at the cemetery image. These humans died fighting. Some died protecting their families. Some died defending their nations. Some died for ideas they believed in. But they all died willingly. They chose to fight even though they knew they might die. Daewon turned to face the class directly. What does it mean to fight an enemy who is willing to die? What does it mean when they keep coming even after you kill thousands of them? What does it mean when destroying their cities just makes them angry, instead of making them surrender? No one answered. The questions hung in the air like smoke. It means you cannot win by killing humans, Day One said quietly. You can only win by killing all of us. Every single one. 9 billion people. Across hundreds of worlds. All of them. Because if even a few survive, they will remember. They will rebuild. They will study what you did. They will learn from it. And they will come back. He walked back to his seat slowly. Every eye in the room followed him. He sat down and looked at Velkara. That is my correction, instructor, he said. Your lesson on how to kill a human was accurate but incomplete. It did not explain what happens after you kill one. It did not explain what happens when other humans find out. It did not explain the cost of making humans your enemy. Velkara stared at him for a long moment. Her 4 eyes blinked one at a time. Her mandibles moved slightly, making soft clicking sounds. Finally, she spoke. You are correct, Cadet Day One. My lesson was incomplete. She turned to address the entire class. Let me add one final point to today's instruction. What Cadet Day One has taught you is more valuable than anything in my original lesson. You now know how to kill a human. More importantly, you now know why you should never want to. The classroom remained silent. Humanity joined the Galactic Union 3 years ago. Velkara continued. In that time they have been peaceful, friendly, and cooperative. They have shared technology. They have offered aid. They have asked for very little in return. Some of us wondered why they wanted to join. Some of us wondered what they could offer. She looked at Day One. Now I understand. Humans joined the Union not because they needed protection. They joined because having humans as allies is much, much better than having them as enemies. She clicked her mandibles in what might have been respect. Cadet Day One has reminded us of an important military principle. The most dangerous enemy is not the one with the biggest weapons or the strongest armor. It is the one who refuses to stop fighting. The one who learns from every defeat. The one who will pursue you across time and space until one of you is extinct. Velkara deactivated all the displays. Class dismissed. I suggest you all think carefully about what you learned today. Not just the anatomy and weaknesses, but the warnings. Students began gathering their belongings slowly. The usual chatter and noise were absent. They filed out quietly, many of them glancing at Day One as they passed. Some looks were fearful. Some were respectful. None were mocking anymore. Soon only Day One and Velkara remained in the classroom. The Thros instructor approached his desk. She looked down at him with all 4 eyes. That was quite a presentation, Cadet. Thank you, instructor. Was it accurate? Everything you showed us? Day One nodded slowly. Yes, instructor. I only showed verified historical data and documented human capabilities. I did not exaggerate. Velkara's mandibles clicked softly. I have been teaching combat tactics for 40 years. I have studied hundreds of species. I thought I understood humans, and now I understand that humans are the most dangerous species I have ever encountered. Not because you are strong, because you are smart, adaptable, and absolutely relentless. Day One smiled slightly. That is a fair assessment. Velkara was quiet for a moment.